Hey y'all, real quick before this video starts, this was like the most work intensive project on the channel so far, especially for my girlfriend who had to edit it, except for the video. She only edits the audio for the things. But still, it was a massive amount of work for her, and I put in a lot of time and effort capturing all the footage and stuff, so please like and subscribe. I know you're not subscribed because almost none of my views come from subscribers, but also almost all of my views come from that one video I made about Cyberpunk a year ago, so I don't understand. Still, subscribe. Thank you for your attention. Now on to the video. Hello Internet, my name is the Golden Stalfos, and today I'm going to tell you how literally anyone, regardless of your current skill level, can beat Dark Souls 1 at Soul Level 1. And when I say anyone, I mean anyone. You could legitimately do this as your first run of the game, although I wouldn't recommend that. It gets kind of tough at points, and it definitely helps if you know the game a bit, so I'd probably recommend it as your second or third run. And also, while this video will explain how to do it, I won't be explaining everything in such detail that someone who knows nothing about the game will be able to get through. I'll kind of assume that you've played it once or twice. That said, if you're dedicated enough and you combine the information from this video with a wiki and just, push through, you could totally do it on your first run. More power to you. Alright, so right off the bat, in order to play through the entire game at Soul Level 1, you have to start with the only Soul Level 1 character class, which is the Pyromancer. Now, Pyromancer is a really powerful class despite the low level. In fact, it's probably a lot easier to beat the game with starting level Pyromancer than it is with starting level Cleric or Sorcerer, for example. And from here, basically, you just play through the Asylum like normal, making sure that you have the Master Key as your starting gift. You can get through the game without the Master Key, and even most of the more intricate stuff I describe about the route can be done without the Master Key, but it makes it a lot easier. And none of the other starting gifts really do anything worthwhile for you, so just pick the Master Key. Once you're out of the Asylum, nab the Firelink Bonfire, and run around the shrine area collecting all of the collectibles. This includes most of the stuff in the graveyard. You probably won't need the binoculars or any of the soul items that are in the graveyard, but, souls are souls. You're going to use a lot of them, so there's really no harm in picking up all of the usable soul items along the way. Just in case anyone doesn't know, behind the church, in the elevator shaft that would normally lead you up to the parish, you can instead drop through down the shaft, and there's a bunch of treasure chests right there, one of which contains homeward bones. You will probably use them a lot. Get them. After that, it's a simple matter of going down the elevator to New Londo Ruins. I recommend making a suicide run to the Firekeeper soul that's in the ruins. Once you grab the soul, you can either kill yourself to get back to the bonfire, or you can use your homeward bones. Then just go back down the elevator, turn the other direction, and open the gate that leads into the Valley of the Drakes. Pro tip with this elevator, send it back up every time you go down. You almost never approach this elevator from the bottom if you're routing correctly, and it's just very convenient to have it waiting for you at the top when you come back to it. Now you just have to make your way through the Valley of the Drakes, making sure that you don't get barbecued by the dragon lightning. You can pick up the soul that the zombie dragon is guarding, but don't pick up the other things because that will make him mad. Ride another elevator up, grab the bonfire. From here, there are a couple of different route options depending on your preference. You can go back and get the red tearstone ring. This is another suicide run type of deal. You can get past all of the drakes pretty easily, but then they all crowd around you where you pick up the item, so you need to either homeward bone very quickly or suicide. Either way, the red tearstone ring isn't essential for completing this run, but some people really like the damage boost that it gives because it's pretty significant. But also, you'll be in one-shot range anytime you're using it, so you kind of have to play perfectly. If you're not able to play perfectly, then the damage boost just isn't worth it. But whether you get the red tearstone ring or not, you do need to get the Grass Crest shield. It's the best shield in the game. It does a really good job blocking most damage types, not perfect, but pretty good, and it speeds up your stamina recovery dramatically. Which is great, because in this run you need to do a lot of running, and swinging of a club, so that's important. You can kill the Black Knight guarding it if you want, but it doesn't really matter. You can just easily run past him. On your way over to Havel's tower, there's a soul item that's worth like 5 grand. Take it. You can also fight Havel right now if you want. I wouldn't really recommend it because he's got insane defense and offense, and you'll just get one shot. But he's really easy to backstab, and he can't really do anything to you when you're backstab chaining him, so if you're confident in your ability to backstab, it doesn't really matter how little damage you do with each hit. If you can just do it infinitely, he'll eventually die. So if you want to do it that way, you can, or you can come back here later when you have better damage. Either way, you will probably want to have Havel's Ring as an option later on in the game, and now's as good a time as any, I suppose. The next thing you have to do is go up the switchbacks to the forest. Make sure that along the way you pick up the archer's set, the hunter's set, whatever it is. You don't need the armor, it's kind of worthless, but you do need the longbow. You'll never have the stats to use it, obviously, but you can use it to aim firebombs, and that is clutch. You're also going to want to kill the Titanite Lizard on your way up. The best case drop scenario is Twinkling Titanite and Large Titanite. See, every lizard is guaranteed to drop some twinklies and has a chance of dropping something else. This one can drop large shards or chunks. Chunks are better than large shards in the long run, but getting a large shard this early on in the game is actually really important, because if you can't get it from one of the 2 Titanite lizards that are able to drop it in this early section, then that means you have to go down to Blight Town or Sen's Fortress to get large shards, and then, it's a long-ass trip back and forth to Andre, and it's a pain in the ass. Getting a large shard here is the best case scenario, and if it doesn't come out from this one, you do have a second chance with the Titanite Lizard on your way up to the Taurus Demon, but if that one doesn't drop it, then you're in for a lot of running. Either way, once you get up the switchbacks, you want to go to your right and explore the forest. The forest is full of trees and tree-like people, but you have a fireball, so you're good. Your melee weapon at this moment is pretty garbage, but your fireballs will deal great damage to them. Grab the hidden bonfire behind the fake wall. At this point, it's probably a good idea to become human as well. Then take the loop around past the big trees that kind of move but not really, and get yourself a wolf ring. It's very valuable. It gives you 40 poise, which is a lot. Next thing you're going to want to do is rest at the bonfire to de-aggro everything, and then go fight the Moonlit Butterfly. This is an optional boss fight, but you can summon Beatrice for it, and Beatrice does the fight herself. Since you have fireballs, you can help out a little, but they're kind of wonky hitboxes with the butterfly, and so sometimes it'll just ignore a direct hit because reasons. Also, you don't have enough fireball damage to kill the Moonlit Butterfly on your own, so just let Beatrice help. Killing the Moonlit Butterfly gives you 10,000 souls and a soul item that is worth 1,200 souls. If you're playing the Prepare to Die edition, this soul item can be easily reused through menu queuing. If you're playing the remaster, item duplication is more difficult, and you have to go talk to the big snake dude, and it's a whole thing. In either version of the game, you can duplicate souls if you need to, or you can just grind. It's kind of up to you, but duplicating is a lot faster than grinding. From here, you can go talk to Andre, and you should have just enough souls to buy the Crest of Artorias seal. If you're able to duplicate the Moonlit Butterfly soul, then you can also have enough souls to buy the other things you need from him, notably the upgrade boxes, the storage box, a handful of small Titanite shards if you don't want to grind for them, that kind of thing. From here, my recommendation would be to go back to the forest, open the Artorias forest where all of the hunter NPCs are, and lead them off a cliff. The AI pathing in this area is kind of funked up, and so all of the NPC enemies in this area will try to go up the stairs if you're hiding behind the stairs, and then they'll try to drop down on you, but there's not enough room, so they'll usually just tumble off the ledge. You can help this by holding up your shield. And if they do manage to land in front of you, you can just kick them, and then they fall off the ledge. That's a good way to grind souls. After that, you need to join the Forest Hunters Covenant by talking to Alvina and saying yes to all of her dumb questions. And then you need to kick Ninja Man off of the ledge until he dies. Then you can save and quit, reload, and an item will be where he was originally standing that has the flippy ring, which is a great ring. You will use it throughout the run. It's so fun to be able to ninja flip. It gives you so much extra iframes. It's so useful. I love it. Now that you have the power of both ninja flips and poise on your side, I would go down to Firelink Shrine via the shortcut through the parish, grab the Firekeeper's soul along the way, and then head up to the Undead Burg so you can talk to the Undead Merchant and buy your weapons so you can start actually hitting things. Up until now, you've probably been using the hand axe you started with, which sucks, but now you can upgrade to a spiked club, which is awesome. The Reinforced Club has the same moveset as the club, but slightly higher damage, and bleed, which makes it just like an incredibly good weapon overall, because the club is already pretty good, and making it stronger and adding a bleed effect is great. You do have a whiff animation though, so you gotta make sure you hit things. Depending on your preferred playstyle, you'll probably want 2 different Reinforced Clubs, one to be enhanced regularly and one to be enhanced through the Chaos Tree. Split damage in general isn't that good, and there are some enemies in the game who are immune to fire damage, but other than that, the Chaos weapon is pretty fucking powerful, especially if you max out your held humanity, which is a valid tactic because it actually boosts your stats slightly, so you'll want to do that sometimes. And now that you've got a +5 weapon and 2 Firekeeper souls, you're going to go back to Firelink, give at least one of the souls to your Firekeeper. Again, if you're using the Prepare to Die edition, you can duplicate this item pretty easily, so having one on hand for that purpose is pretty good. Each time you use it, it completely restores your health and gives you 5 humanity, which is an easy way to max out your humanity a lot faster. And then just go up and fight the gargoyles. I normally kill Lotric before fighting the gargoyles so I can get the ring right away, but you can also just summon him for the fight, assuming you let him out of the cage, obviously. And having both him and Solaire in the fight makes it a complete joke, as if it wasn't already. But whether you kill him before or after the fight with the gargoyles, you will want that Ring of Favor, so make sure you kill him. And also make sure that you ring the bell after you kill the gargoyles, because you don't want to forget to do that. From here you need to head down to the depths so that you can get your Large Ember and your Pyromancer teacher guy. I normally enter Lower Undead Burg through the back route so I don't have to kill the Tauros Demon because I don't feel like it. This also makes the dragon not appear. The Hellkite Drake. This also means that if you need to grind for humanity by killing the enemies in the Undead Burg, you can do that. Though in general, I think if you're going to grind humanity, you should do it in the depths because the rats can drop humanity items in addition to the normal humanity buildup that you get from fighting the human enemies. So you get into the lower burg, you kill all the enemies along the way. This can be a big pain in the ass, but there are some tricks to it. The dogs can be stopped by holding your shield in front of them, and then when they bounce off of your shield, smack them. The first wave of ambushing thief boys, I guess, is what you would call them, the ambushing thieves. You can hit them through the door if you use a really big R2, so do that and hit them through the door as hard as you can. Once you've cleared all the enemies on the way to Capra Demon, post up outside. Oh, BTW, in order to do this, you probably need to buy a bunch of firebombs from the Undead Merchant. I didn't mention that earlier. I'm sorry. If you didn't do it earlier, you can go back and do it now. The enemies won't respawn unless you rest at a bonfire, so it's fine. Anyway, you equip the firebombs to your item slot, and you equip the longbow from earlier and look through the sights and aim up at the ceiling of the wall way behind the room. And then just start chucking firebombs over the wall, and they'll land on the boss. You can also hit one of the dogs this way. You can just kill the boss without entering the boss room. He's alive. It counts as a victory. You get the item. It's great. I know some people may feel bad about cheesing it, but It's Capra Demon. He deserves to be cheesed. Capra Demon is bullshit. It's a tiny ass room where your camera doesn't work properly. There are 2 dog enemies chasing you around the whole time. He has that big ass attack that goes through your shield. It's ridiculous. Of course, if you want to fight him normally, go in, shield up, run over to the stairs right away, get up past the dogs, hide in the corner, kill the dogs, and then, just kind of lure him around the room. Get as many plunging attacks as you can, loop it. It'll be hard. You'll take a lot of damage, but you can do it. Personally, I like that the firebomb method is faster and easier, so I go with that. Once you kill him, you get a key to the depths. Watch out, there are 2 more thief boys on your way down. Kill them, get the soul on the gate, go down into the depths. If you need to re-up on your Estus and stuff, you can also go take the shortcut back to Firelink. Doesn't matter. From here, all you have to do is kill everything in the room, open up the treasure chest to get your large ember, go across the way to get to where the other big-ass butcher lady is, kill her, rescue your Pyromancer boy, and bring him to Firelink. Then you go to Firelink and talk to him, buy some spells, and upgrade the shit out of your Pyromancy flame. Now at this point, you should probably have an absolute shitload of souls relative to this part of the game, since you haven't been leveling up, but you have been fighting a lot of stuff. But if you've lost your souls and whatever, it's not a big deal. You can grind to get them back. They're a renewable resource. Don't worry about it. He can upgrade your Pyromancy flame to plus 15. I recommend you do that. I also recommend grabbing all of the spells that he sells. You probably won't ever use Iron Skin, but the other ones are pretty useful. So now that you've got your Pyromancy flame up to plus 15, if you were able to get a large ember from either of the Titanite Lizards as mentioned earlier, then you can go to Andre, upgrade your weapon to plus 6, and then head down. If you weren't able to do it, you'll just have to head down anyway. Go to Blighttown through the shortcut. Once you get down to the bottom, you're going to want to set up shop by the bonfire. If you're still human, you'll have to fight with Maneater Mildred. She's not that hard, just backstab her a few times, The typical speedrun advice is never stop at the bonfire in Blighttown because it is faster to go down Blighttown twice than to go up once. But there's a lot of good stuff you need to get down here, and you aren't doing a speedrun, you're doing a challenge run. Around the swampy area, there are a lot of soul items to pick up. There's a few large Titanite shards laying around. You can pick up a second set of Pyromancer gear along with the Pyromancy spell Poison Mist. You can grind against the slugs to get green Titanite shards and large Titanite shards. But the most important thing is to go backwards up Blighttown the way you didn't come in and get Power Within. It's right behind the big sewer leech thing, and there's only a handful of enemies you actually have to fight on your way up there, but it can be a pain in the ass. There's a couple of those shovey dudes and a troll in a cave, so kind of hard. But assuming you're able to kill them and avoid getting toxicked by the snipers and blow up the sewer leech with some firebombs, you can get Power Within, which is a really, really incredible spell. It greatly increases your damage output at the cost of ticking down your health very slowly. Given the current size of your health bar, you can die just from the damage from Power Within, but as long as you remember to Estus when your health is low, you'll be fine. From here, you need to fight Quelaag. I recommend summoning Mildred and using a combination of Power Within and your Sweating spell to make it so that you can deal a lot of damage without taking a lot of damage from Quelaag. She's completely fireproof, so none of your other spells will be any good. If you were lucky with your Titanite Lizard drops, then you should have grinded up enough large shards by killing the slugs in the area and should have gotten a plus 10 weapon, in which case Quelaag should be no problem whether you have your assistant there or not. But if you only have a plus 5, it can be a kind of long battle, and she does cover the floor in lava and have other AoE type effects, so it can be really annoying, and you can get murdered pretty easily if your Mist Sweat isn't up. I recommend having Mildred there to take some of the aggro. She does decent damage, but her AI is so stupid that most of the time she just stands in the lava. So, she's mostly just there to distract Quelaag so you can get a few good hits in from the side. Once Quelaag is dead, you're going to want to ring the bell, run all the way down, and do the cheesy method to beat Ceaseless Discharge. For anyone who doesn't know, the Ceaseless Discharge fight starts when you pick up the clothes that belong to his mother, Quelana, who isn't even really dead since she's your pyromancy teacher, but whatever. If you then run all the way back to the entrance fast enough, he'll jump after you toward the entrance. There's a very small area right by the fog gate that gets a fire spurt, but otherwise it's completely safe when he jumps. Once he jumps, he's just dangling from a cliff face and will fall all the way down to the bottom of Los Isolith if you just smack his arm a few times to make him let go. Killing these two big opponents back to back will give you a fuck ton of souls. So then you can go back up into Blight Town, talk to Quelana, and finish upgrading your Pyromancy Flame. You'll probably need more souls than just what you got from killing those two bosses, but it'll help. You'll also probably want to buy most of Quelana's spells. Great Combustion in particular is super essential to this run. Then just make your way up to Firelink Shrine. If you need an extra Pyromancer soul, because you probably want your Estus at about +2, and if you're in the Prepare to Die edition, then you want to be able to duplicate that item as well, I would recommend killing the Blow Dart Snipers that toxic you and the Fire Dogs and just grabbing the soul that's down there and then heading up to Firelink Shrine. From Firelink Shrine, you take the shortcut to the parish, talk to Andre, make sure your weapon is at least +10. At this point, you can go through the New Londo ruins and lower the floodgates and get the really big Ember so that you can upgrade your stuff more. But it's not easy. There are a lot of ghosts, especially in the church area that leads up to Ingward. And because you haven't gotten the Lord Vessel yet, you have to kill Ingward in order to get the key, which usually means going through that church. You can snipe Ingward with firebombs, but it's a little bit awkward, and you'll probably have ghosts coming up behind you when you do it, so it's not really that much safer. You don't really need your weapon to be beyond +10 for Anor Londo since you've already maxed out your pyromancy, but if it makes you feel better, you can go through the ruins and get it now. Since the ruins also house the Dark Wraiths and a number of predetermined chunks, you can also get your weapon all the way up to +14 if you do it right now. However, you may want to do this after you get the Gold Serpent Ring in Sense Fortress, since drop rates, Either way, as soon as you're ready for Anor Londo, you should head up through Sense Fortress. Just progress normally. Most of the enemies can be avoided. If you want some extra guaranteed chunks, you can drop down off the ledge at the very beginning and climb up the ladder to the invisible wall. This wall can only be broken by attacking it, and it's the only wall in the entire game that works that way, so yeah. And behind it is another stairway that leads up to a giant you can kill for a free chunk. If you don't need the free chunk, then leave him alone, go through the level. The key to getting past most of the traps in Sense Fortress is to just go fast. I know it's kind of counterintuitive and it feels a little scary, but trust me, just going quickly is the key most of the time. Once you get past the first rolling boulder, the giant will switch the machine and start rolling the boulders down the next path that you're going to go through. From here, you can get up past the boulder into the switching room, but I usually like to collect the Gold Serpent Ring, so I go down and let the boulders break the wall instead, and then just take the elevator up. Make sure you don't ride it all the way up because you'll die, but just take it up to the platform, hop off, and go up past the switching room. This is where you might normally rescue Big Hat Logan, but you don't have the stats for it. You just can't benefit from sorceries. However, I did forget to mention earlier that you should have rescued his apprentice from the lower Undead Burg, because that guy sells you the Bellowing Dragon Crest Ring, which does increase the power of your pyromancies by like 20%, and it costs 20,000 souls, and so it's very worthwhile to have that as an option to increase your damage. So, yeah, that. Big Hat Logan does not sell the ring. There is no other way to get the ring that I'm aware of besides buying it from that guy for 20,000 souls. So, All along the critical path in Sen's Fortress, there are treasure chests and item drops of large shards. These will be enough to fully upgrade a +5 to a +10. If for whatever reason you failed to fully upgrade your weapon earlier, now you'll definitely have access to the shards. Once you get to the top of Sen's Fortress, go through the fog gate, drop down and get the hidden bonfire, come back up and around, run circles all the way up until you get to the big guy who's throwing the fucking firebombs at you, and kill him. Kill him real good. Also, before you kill him, you can make him real sad by rolling through all of his firebomb rocks. It's hilarious. At this point, you may want to go loop around to the other tower guarded by Ricard, because that tower contains a rare ring of sacrifice, which you will need for your first encounter with Seath. You can also get one from the New Londo ruins on top of the temple on your way back, so pick your poison. From here, you just go up and fight the Iron Golem. You can summon Tarkus if you want, but he's pretty weak to fire either way, so not a hard fight. I recommend going up and hitting his shins with Great Combustion until he falls to death. Then you can ride the weird Harpy Demon Monster Express up to Anor Londo, rest at the bonfire, take your elevator down, get across your rafters. This is all the same as it would be in any normal playthrough. Just use your shield, lure the guys into jumping off the rafters, get past them. If they don't jump off the rafters, you can hit them with a Great Combustion and they'll fucking explode. Though I would recommend regular combustion because you want to be able to use your Great Combustions on the Silver Knight that's blocking your way to the next bonfire. Activate the rotating platform, head across the bridge, loop your way past the giant guards and the demon monster thing, go across the buttresses, head up and to the right where the Silver Knight is. Make sure you don't get shot along the way because you will fall off the ledge because those are great arrows and they do hit you like a fucking ton of bricks. Get up to him, roll through any arrows he shoots at you, and hit him with your Great Combustion Pyromancer spell. He should definitely go down within 2 hits, and he'll be stunned after the first one, so you'll have time to hit him with the second. If his shield is up, it's a little bit harder, but you can still do it. Push past his dissipating corpse and head on into your new bonfire room. Hooray! After you've grabbed your bonfire, head around the stairs, kill the guy in the little hallway behind the stairs, and then open the door to your left. Roll through the fireplace, head down the stairs, pick up Havel's armor. It's worth it. You may also want to pick up the Occult Club at this point. It's being guarded by the Mimic though, so you have to kill the Mimic, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. The Occult Club will come in very clutch when you fight Nito, so, you know. From here, you go up the spiral staircase just a little bit, turn around, jump off onto the second floor without having to explore all of the stuff up above. Is that a little cheap? Maybe, but saves you a lot of time. If you don't want to have to make that jump over and over again, you can open the shortcut to your right. Go up and around the big main room, down the stairs hidden in the wall on the other side. You can get to the giant blacksmith. Talk to him, buy enough Twinkling Titanite shards to fully upgrade a Twinkling Titanite weapon, and then fucking murder him in cold blood. Also buy whatever else you want from him because he's going to be dead soon. Once he dies, you get to use his hammer. You can two-hand it, and it's a lightning damage weapon that gets upgraded by Twinkling, so it's really good. It's a little bit slower than your club, but it deals better damage against enemies who are weak to lightning. By the way, the enemies that are weak to lightning list also includes Ornstein and Schmo. So, yeah. I mean, Ornstein is weak to fire and Schmo is weak to lightning, but you know. I find taking them both out with Pyromancer is perfectly fine as well. There's also a ring next to him, but it's not like super good. You can take it if you want, it doesn't matter. It's only useful if you're using a bow, which you probably can't in this run, so whatever. There's also a Titanite chunk on the ledge outside. If you want that, you can go get it, and then go fight Ornstein and Schmo. You can summon Solaire for this fight. He makes it a lot easier to control their AI in the first phase, but don't expect him to live very long. He's not that good in this fight. I recommend killing Ornstein first and then Schmo, but it's up to you. The most dangerous aspect of this fight is a glitch that still hasn't been fixed even after the remaster was produced, and that is the invisible Ornstein glitch. Every once in a while, for no apparent reason, when you're fighting this boss, after Ornstein dies and Smo becomes big and lightningy, an invisible Ornstein will be running around stabbing you. And that makes it really fucking hard to fight because there's an invisible boss stabbing you in the back while you're trying to fight the boss you can see. Also, you can't damage him back because reasons. Although, don't think you'll be completely safe from this if you kill Smo first, because I've heard of people getting invisible Ornstein even when big Ornstein is out, so that's so fun. 10 out of 10, perfectly programmed game, no bugs whatsoever. Who could even think of that? Anyway, assuming unfair glitches don't kill you and you're able to get past one of the hardest bosses in the game, one way or another, you can go up, collect the Lord Vessel, and then the game is basically over. It's so much easier from here on out. By this point, you should have basically maxed out your damage potential. Unless you're going for a Chaos Weapon, you wouldn't have been able to make that yet, but patience, Grasshopper, we'll get there. You can go start the process of entering the DLC by killing the Hydra, killing the Golden Giant, talking to the girl that spawns out of it, summoning her, and then going up to Duke's Archives. Once you kill the first blue golem and get the pendant, you can go back down, and behind the portal will be her corpse, where you can collect the headgear that increases spell damage even more. It's a pretty big, meaningful increase to the damage you deal with your pyromancies, but I wouldn't recommend wearing it through the Dirk's Archives because it also makes you more susceptible to spell damage, and yikes. From here you can take on any of the 4 lords in any order, but I'll go from hardest to easiest. And note that when I say that, I'm not just talking about the boss fights, but also the levels leading up to the boss fights. So the hardest overall is going to be Seath. In order to get to Seath, you first have to make it past an unbelievably large gauntlet of small-ish humanoid enemies who seem kind of weak at first, but then you realize that they're crystal and they deal crystal damage, and they can get buffed by the sorcerer dude, and they're insanely powerful when they're buffed. Not to mention said giant sorcerer dudes that teleport away after you hit them once. Get past them by any means necessary, kill them, run, whatever. Climb up to the elevator, use it to bring yourself all the way up. Then there's this NPC enemy who's pretty strong, but not a big deal. Titanite Lizard, and then the boss fight. You can't win this boss fight. You have to die. It's a scripted death. Equip your rare rebirth ring so that you don't die, because you don't want to die there. You'll lose all your souls, and he can curse you, and that's why you need the rare ring instead of the regular ring, because if you get cursed, then your health is cut in half, and that sucks. Anyway, once you get kidnapped, kill the guy who's guarding your jail cell, run all the fucking way down to where the magic jukebox is, shut off the jukebox, kill the snakes, grab the key, run all the goddamn way back up, probably kill 2 more snakes, climb a ladder, open the door, run past another long-ass gauntlet of those crystal boys, many of whom are archers and will shoot at you down the long hallway you're running down. If you can, kill the big sorcerer in one hit, please do. I recommend Great Combustion with the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring on. Run past to the set of stairs that you can climb up, go halfway up, trigger the switch, go the rest of the way up, run across, jump down onto the other set of stairs you just twisted, run up, hit the switch, run across down, climb down the ladder while an archer shoots at you, hit the switch so that you can open the door, and then finally your fucking bonfire. And now you can run to the boss through another huge gauntlet of enemies in an entire new area. Jesus fucking Christ, the Duke's Archive is 4 times longer than any of the other final sections. Why is it like this? Once you've gotten your new bonfire, head down and out into the crystal caves. There's not a whole lot worth grabbing or exploring in this area. There's just a bunch of crystal golems and a bunch of geometry that doesn't quite work. Take yourself down to the invisible platforms. Make sure you don't wiggle to either side or you'll fall off the invisible platforms. Make sure you don't get knocked off the big blue spike by the big golem dude. Make sure you also don't get knocked off by the fucked up geometry that tries to push you off, because fuck you. Get onto the second set of invisible platforms, run all the way across to where the clams are. Try not to get clammed to death, because the clams will fucking clam you to death. Don't even question it. Run past the clams, get into the boss fight. After you skip the cutscene, turn around and break his invincibility stick so he doesn't stay invincible during the fight and you can actually fight him. Pray to God that you can kill him before the clams come up behind you and clam you to death during the fight. Do your best to unload all of your combustions on him before he's able to kill you with a curse beam. And just in general, plow through his fat, damaged, spongy ass until there is nothing left. Rest at the bonfire and make your way off to the next lord. Jesus Christ, what a clusterfuck. The next most annoying, and honestly it's not even that far behind, is Nito. In order to get to Nito, you start at Filing Shrine, run through the graveyard. There will be several enemies blocking your path through and trying to push you into the abyss. Do your best. Get to the first bonfire room where there's a necromancer shooting fireballs at you. Kill him. Rest at the bonfire before any of the skeletons catch up with you. Run out and make your way down to the bottom by any means necessary without, dying by falling too far. Some people like to jump down from the top and land on midway points and then jump down some more. I find it works better, or at least it's more consistent, to force your way through the level normally until you get to the lower midway point and then jump down. Either way, once you're at the bottom, you're going to have some health missing, you're going to need to heal, you're going to need to avoid getting murdered by wheel skeletons. If you want, you can summon Paladin Leroy, but it's not necessary. Run into the boss fog, drop down, watch the cutscene, immediately blast him with great combustions until he dies, and hopefully do that before he's able to hit you with 4 different light balls at the same time. His health bar isn't very big, and most people consider this fight to be a complete joke because they don't come down here until this point in the story. But since you're level 1 and probably not wearing heavy armor because you need to be able to move around, his light balls can deal a lot of damage to you, especially if you get hit by several of them because he summons multiple copies all at once. So there is a small bit of danger. Next, you need to go through the Giant's Tomb. There are 2 problems with the Tomb of the Giants. 1, it is dark. You need a light. 2, you probably don't have a light. At this point in the story, there are 2 ways to get a light. You can either kill all of the necromancers in the area above until one of them drops a lantern. There is guaranteed to be a lantern drop by the time you kill the last one, so if you get all of them, you will have a lantern. The lantern is kind of cool because it activates a bunch of hidden glowy points along the walls, which is neat. Or you can go to Los Isleth, join the guild that the spider bitch leads, and head down to the shortcut, kill the special sunlight maggot, and put it on your head. Either of these are very long and annoying detours that you don't want to have to do, but you have to do it in order to fight Nito. Unless you want to try and memorize your way to get through in the dark, which I do not recommend at all. Run down to your first bonfire, light it, rest at it, then run all the fucking way down to your second bonfire. You'll probably be getting chased by a Black Knight, and you may not be able to rest at the second bonfire because of that. But, kill him, rest, then make the long-ass run down from the second bonfire to Nito. You could also skip the second bonfire if you want. It's really not that much further, but yeah, I like getting the second bonfire most of the time. On your way to Nito, if you're human, you'll be invaded by Paladin Leroy. If you kill him, you can get his shield, which is a very good shield. 10 out of 10, much approved. It slowly restores your health. Oh, also, by this point, you should have downgraded your Occult Club to a Divine Club +5 so that you can get the benefit of having a Divine Weapon when fighting Nito. Run all the way over to Nito. You'll have to get past a dozen pinwheels. Again, they can deal a lot of damage with their light ball attacks, so try not to let it hit you. If you're not running at max speed, you may also get blocked by the bone pillars, but just firebomb them or something, get past. Once you're in the boss fog, make sure you're fully healed up and prepped for battle. Equip anything you think will increase your damage. Equip your Divine Club. Drop down, stay where you dropped down, heal. Some of the smaller skeletons in the area will come towards you, block their attacks, smack them with the Divine Club until they fall and die. If at any point you hear Nito scream, that means he's about to stab the ground, and thus the ground will stab you. Don't ask me how that works. If you want to avoid being stabbed by the ground, you're going to have to roll. The timing is very annoying because it's just slightly after his scream, but not enough after that you really have time to wait and time it. So yeah, just kind of push through and do your best. It may also help to have Havels equipped at this point, but kind of up to you. After all the skeletons are dead, just stay where you are, make sure your health is full, let Nito come to you. He will. Once Nito comes to you, smack him a few times with your club, or switch to your Pyromancer flames and burn the shit out of him until he dies. If he starts charging up his AoE, just put your shield up, do your best to get through it, and then heal, and then start smacking him again. He does have a grab attack, but he almost never uses it, and the position isn't really great, so you probably won't get grabbed. Probably. And that's it. As soon as he's dead, rest of the bonfire, head back to Firelink Shrine, and you can start the next fight. The next most difficult is by far the worst boss fight of the entire bunch. In fact, it's the worst boss fight in the game. Probably one of the worst fights in the entire series, actually. I'm talking, of course, about Bed of Chaos, the shit stain. There are a couple of different ways you can approach Bed of Chaos. You can join the Covenant with Koilina and open the shortcut, run past the big Titanite Demon, and get in that way. Or you can fight two bosses, one of which is a fiery retrain of the Asylum Demon, and one of which is the fuck your camera, fuck you, fuck your camera Centipede Demon. If you want to get a Chaos weapon, you do need to kill the Centipede Demon because you need his ring in order to get onto the lava where the Ember is. But if you don't want to make a Chaos weapon, I would recommend skipping it. In either case, in order to get to Bed of Chaos, you have a very long, very annoying run filled with things that can easily kill you and fucked up geometry. Once you get up to him the first time, Koilina will be there blocking your path and trying to murder you, which is weird because even if you kill her here, she's still able to be seen in Blighttown, so I don't know. Just beat her into a pulp before she does Chaos Firestorm, because you don't want to get hit by Chaos Firestorm. From here, you head into the boss fight, and you have two options. You can do your best to cheese it, and there's a lot of videos on how to do that. I fucked it up during this run, so that's annoying. Or you can try to fight it normally. Either way, good luck to you. The cheese method involves standing right in front of him in the safe zone and throwing firebombs into the two trigger points back to back so that he just gets right down to phase 3 right away. From there, you're already in the position to move directly into the center as long as he doesn't firestorm you too bad. Then you can just smack him and be done with it. It's really great. 10 out of 10, highly recommend the cheese. If you fail the cheese, by which I mean you hit one target and then can't hit the other one before you get killed, then you'll just have to do it normally. I'm sorry. It is truly a gigantic pain in the ass. Once you've trialed and errored your way past this annoying, insufferable piece of shit boss, you can finally be free and have a nice, easy time getting through the Four Kings. The Four Kings is by far the easiest boss in this series to fight, not just because the area leading up to him is fairly easy and you probably already did most of it to get your weapon upgrades, but also just because the boss itself is fairly easy. All you have to do is Havel up and hit him with everything you've got. Of course, before you're able to fight him, you have to fight Sif, which, again, isn't really that hard. Sif can be kind of annoying if he keeps his distance from you, but he doesn't really have that much health overall, and you can just keep close to him by ninja flipping or running or whatever, and plow through him with your fire spells and your big spiky bleed stick that he is vulnerable to bleed. You can also use Power Within to speed up the process. Really, Sif isn't a problem. Once you get into the Four Kings, you have to give up one of your rings for an Abyss ring, but otherwise the fight's basically the same as any other fairly straightforward fight. You put on your Havel's gear, walk up to him as quickly as you can, use your shield to block the big swipey attack that he sometimes does, then just heal through any damage he deals to you and unload all of your fire into him until you run out of fire, and then unload all of your big swinging whopping attacks with your blacksmith hammer. And that's it. That's the fight. You just tank through everything and wail on him, and he can't do shit. And now that you've gotten the 4 Lord Souls, you can go fight the final boss. Oh, also, if you wanted to make your Chaos Weapon after you beat the Centipede Demon, you just go back behind where all the Tauros Demons are on your way down to Los Isolith. There's a shitload of them. And then you have to take that ember to the skeleton blacksmith in the graveyard, and you have to get the red chunks from Titanite Lizards, which you'll probably have to explore the Great Hollow for that, and it's a whole long-ass thing. And really, it's not that worth it, but whatever. It's an option if you want. Anyway, for the final boss, all you really have to do is run past all the Black Knights. This might be a little difficult at first, but once you figure out the route, it's pretty consistent and you can run past them pretty easily. Go through the boss fog and hit him with all your fire. When I was doing my recording for this, or my streaming for this, I forgot that he's super vulnerable to fire. I don't know how I forgot that. I was just like, oh, well, he's in a fire area and he wields a big flaming longsword, so of course he's going to be fireproof. And that's not true. He's super vulnerable to fire. Just hit him with all your combustions. He'll die. If you want to be fancy about it, you can also parry him, and, you can equip the ring that deals extra parry damage and stuff. You get that one right outside of Artorias' grave, around the back. Most of his moves are parryable, and they're pretty easy to parry, but it's easier to just hit him with fire until he dies. It's pretty quick. Kind of anticlimactic for the final boss of the game, but what else can you do? Just go in, send Mr. Plin Plin Plon to his early grave, and either extend the realm of fire or plunge it into the realm of dark, whatever you want. And that's it. Congratulations. You beat Dark Souls at level 1. Hoorah. You can go through New Game Plus at level 1 too. You'll have way stronger enemies, but you've already maxed out your damage and everything, so you can do it. You can have 2 sets of Great Combustion instead of 1. It's pretty good. Pretty good. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Hopefully this gets someone to try a challenge run or 2 of the game. I'll be posting a few more challenge run tutorials in the future. In any case, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next life. Laters. Hey, Endcard here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Seriously though, please subscribe. I have no subscribers. It's sad. If you want to find me on other social media stuff, you can do that at the Golden Stalfos on basically everything. Links to that are in the description, as well as to some charities I like but am obviously not affiliated with. I also have a Patreon if you like me so much that you want to give me money, though obviously only do that if you have money to burn, and if you do have money to burn, they're the charities I mentioned before. They probably need it more than I do. Mad ups to my girlfriend for doing all the editing for these videos. It's a really big help. Oh, and I occasionally stream on Twitch, so follow me there so you don't miss it. I don't have a formal schedule because when I tried to have a formal schedule, I couldn't keep to it, so oh well. Okay, thanks, bye!